This one mistake cost me years of progress. And I don't want you to make the same mistake as well. So let's flash back to the previous version of me that was 240 pounds. This version of Kendall had an idea that he could out-train his nutrition. He could eat what he wanted to eat and get away with it by doing as much cardio as possible to burn as many calories as possible. This failed time and time again, and it led me to the question of how do you actually lose body fat, and does cardio matter? Now let's flash forward to me now, who is around 175 pounds. I finished that fat loss phase and I was extremely successful with it. I'm not somebody who likes cardio. So when I was doing that at the time and realized that you didn't necessarily need that for fat loss, I kind of just accepted that as the truth. And thankfully it was, because I was able to go through that fat loss phase without having to do any extensive cardio. I didn't have to go run sprints. I didn't have to go run a marathon. I didn't have to do any activities that were such high output that I would try to outwork that diet. Now, present Kendall is taking on a challenge, and I wouldn't say this is something that I necessarily want to do, but I've committed to it, and as one does when you talk about this subject and you lock in a time and a date and you say you're gonna do it, there's a lot riding on that. There's a lot of pride, there's a lot of personal growth, there's a lot of challenges that live in this realm. So I've decided to run a marathon. I'm gonna run a marathon this year. It's gonna be the first time I've ever done it. I'm not somebody who often likes to run. I'm a big fan of low intensity, steady state cardio. I like to get out and move, but I'm not a big runner. Running's pretty hard on the body, and I know there's a lot of things that are in the running space that are extremely difficult to maintain while working a full-time job and socializing and just enjoying life. And for those who run marathons, it's fantastic. That's awesome that you do it. But for me, this is a real challenge. And about 8 weeks into prep for this marathon, it started to raise the question on why specifically cardio and fat loss don't play well together. And funny enough, I've experienced a lot of these things as I've started training for this marathon. So today I want to break down why cardio is not necessarily for fat loss, especially when we're talking about prepping for some kind of race or event, which I know commonly happens when people are starting to try to change their lives and lose body fat. So let's cover 3 main ideas. The number 1 idea that I found for myself and looked at a lot of research on is that cardio makes you hungrier. As I've started to push myself 1, 3, 5+ miles, racking up mileage on mileage week after week to start to prep for this, I've gotten hungrier and hungrier. The name of the game when you're in a fat loss phase is how do you stay satiated? Satiety is a big factor in whether you're going to overindulge and have too much food in a day. So as I've increased mileage, what is generally happening is when I get home from my runs, whether it be for 15, 30, 45 minutes, an hour plus, I am always so hungry when I get home. This leads me to eating whatever I can get my hands on. Generally, it's carbohydrates because I'm trying to replenish and feel good. And this, left to my own demise, without tracking and paying attention to nutrition, will lead me to overconsume food day in and day out. So though I have this high output of activity that I'm doing over the course of days and days and days and weeks and weeks and weeks, it's not really leading to fat loss because I'm still overconsuming calories, or at least consuming at maintenance. So the more I've been running, the more I've found that hunger is starting to increase. Generally, when I've been in fat loss phases in the past, just doing my weight training and my low intensity cardio has been a really easy tool to use. I don't have any hunger. I feel pretty good through the day. Whereas with the running and endurance training, I tend to be hungrier and I tend to want to eat as much as possible to compensate for the amount of energy output that I had while I was gone. Which leads me to topic number 2. Let's talk about muscle retention and cardio. Generally, the goal when you're in a fat loss phase is to maintain as much muscle as possible. This allows you to lose body fat and improve your physique, leading to compositional change and not necessarily just a number on the scale changing. So when you're running and racking up miles, you're probably not cueing the body to maintain lean tissue through some kind of hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy training just being the goal of building muscle in the gym. And if you're not building muscle, or at least maintaining muscle while you're doing all of this running, and maybe you are in some kind of energy deficit, you will most likely start to lose lean tissue as well. So just imagine if you lost 2 pounds of body fat and also lost 2 pounds of muscle, you basically kept the same physique, which is an extreme issue if we're talking about looking your best and feeling your best. I would recommend, like I'm doing in my program currently, having some kind of resistance training in the program still, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're gonna maintain your lean tissue. The amount of miles that you put in is gonna continue to creep up. Your training in the gym is probably gonna start dropping a little bit, let alone the fact that you're going to be more tired throughout the day. You're gonna have more aches and pains. It's gonna be harder to lift as effectively. Which leads me to my 3rd and final topic in this video. Cardio is just inefficient for fat loss. The amount of running you'd have to do to put yourself in a significant deficit is pretty high. For example, I would eat some food, let's say donuts, and I would have 2 donuts. Those 2 donuts are gonna equal anywhere between 300 to 400 calories. And to work those donuts off, I'm going to have to do a lot of cardio to get to the point that I'm burning the fuel that I just consumed. And that is one of the biggest challenges. We always think that when we have food, we can just work and train and move our bodies more. And at some point it's gonna catch up to you. Maybe you can get away with it here and there, but it's not something that's super sustainable. To really approach fat loss, what we need to be looking at is some kind of sustained energy deficit over time, introducing some resistance training, focusing on sleep and adequate nutrition. When you're exercising, our goal is not necessarily to expend as much energy as possible. The goal is actually to maintain or build muscle. So when you train and you're running, are you actually going to maintain and build lean mass? Most likely not. And that's okay. If you like running, that's totally fine. I am somebody who doesn't really love running, but this is a big challenge for me. This is something that I haven't really stepped in the world of. I'm learning and understanding how to utilize carbohydrates more efficiently. I'm learning that being around maintenance is probably the most beneficial space to be. These are all key things that you have to focus on when you're starting to train more like an athlete and not focus as much as compositional change. From my experience, cardio is not the best tool that you can use for a fat loss phase. And that is something that has been an issue for me in the past. And currently, I've just had more insight on it because I have been doing more cardio than I've ever done before. I am naturally getting hungrier and hungrier, and I need to be fueled for the activity that I'm doing. This makes it extremely difficult to, 1, maintain and build lean tissue, and 2, maintain some kind of a deficit. Because realistically, maintaining an energy deficit while you're prepping for something like this is just unrealistic. So learn from my mistakes. If you are somebody who is trying to lose body fat, don't try to use a tool of having a marathon race or have these big activities as your fuel source for fat loss. For me, it's something I'm doing as a challenge. I told everybody, so now I just have to do it. I'm stuck in it. There's no going back. I bought running shoes and all the little gear and everything that you need to be a runner. I'll use it this year, and who knows if we're gonna do it again. But I found that trying to maintain a deficit has been extremely difficult. So if you're somebody who is looking to lose body fat, please focus on nutrition, resistance training, getting good sleep, eating a high quality diet, and then using cardio as a tool to improve your health. If you're running yourself into the ground, quite literally, and not seeing results, this could be one of the reasons why. I have been here many times, and my goal is to drop as much knowledge as possible so you can be successful with your fat loss phase. If you have any additional questions or have ideas around videos that you'd like to see, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Make sure you share this video. Please like, subscribe. Let's bump it up for the algorithm. Thank you so much. Follow for more content. Okay, bye. Oh, my back hurts. Oh.